going live. There we go. We are going live. Let's let some people show up. For the people who remembered from 3 weeks ago, this is the product release live. Exciting stuff. Exciting stuff. Happy Saturday. I've got a lot going on. I've got a couple screens. I've got two mice here. Mice. I'm going to let some people show up here. I am going to be reading some stuff. I usually kind of go off the cuff, but there's certain things I don't want to miss. Hello. And I want to get them right. And then other things, will kind of come and go. And at the end, then we're going to answer some questions. But this should be quite fun, actually. Let me just see here. All right. People are, boom. We're up to 400. Okay. So, I know this is going to be a video. It's amazing. I partnered with the skin company. All the people that are like, oh, this guy's just going to try and sell me something. Don't leave. You're going to want to hear this message. And if you stick around to the end, the link is going to be in the description. And there's going to be a 15% off code at the end. It's going to be on there too that you can use to get these products. And if you have questions at the very end, I am going to be answering questions too. I just want to keep this kind of tight and because we've got a lot to cover. So, let's see. As far as, me partnering with a company, this has been 5 years that I've been doing this. I get products every week. I get emails, by the dozens every week of offers to partner with companies and to partner, have products that I would sell. And to be honest with you, in all of that time, nothing has really lined up. I did like Isden Sunblock, and that's the only one that I did back. But as far as like a whole company and really partnering with them side by side, this is the first one. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. This is, I never felt comfortable telling somebody for one product $200+. It just didn't feel right to me. I mean, there's some people that can afford it, but the most can't. And like telling them this is what you really need or this is going to help you and it's that expensive. It just never felt right. And then some of the more inexpensive ones, I just didn't like them. They were okay, but they didn't wow me. So this is kind of nice because this company lined up with the integrity, the quality, and the price all in one. So this was my goal from the beginning, and their goal as well. So that is what is so fun about it. When you you match up with somebody and it just feels right, it's all full steam ahead and very fun. So give me a second because I've got all these screens. Let's take a look here. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the company first, and then we're going to go over the products. And they have a great story, and it's an important story, and it's part of why me as a clinician and them as a clinician, this is a company that is by dermatologists for dermatologists and dermatology offices and dermatology providers. That's one of the greatest things, and it was really something that clicked with me from the beginning. And this company has been around. It's called Skin Medicinals, and they have been around. These two mice are throwing me. They have been around since 2017, and they kind of came about to combat price fixing by generic pharmaceutical companies and PBMs. You may have heard that in the news. Pharmacy benefit managers that were going in with pharmacies and jacking up the prices. And even on just simple creams, $400, $500, $800 plus. It's ridiculous. And my new friend, Dr. Ashvin Garlapati, it was the co-founder or one of the founders. They were sick and tired of these non-clinicians who were price fixing, even simple necessary products. So if you go to their website, they even list examples of products like clobetasol, which is a stage 1 topical steroid that we use daily, where pharmacies have hiked up the prices, and where they were even in prescriptions, and they were compounding different things as well. they would be able to get it to the consumer for $40 to $50, cutting out the PBMs, cutting out the middleman in some of these big, huge pharmacies, and going straight from the clinician to Skin Medicinals and straight to the patient. So very important stuff. And then so they realized after starting it, and these are new products. They've only been out since December of 2024. So it's safe to say none of you have tried them, which is very cool. Some of you may. You can only get them from a dermatology office. They can only sell them on their online stores. So that's great because you can get it 24 hours a day, and it's going to ship to you in 2 to 5 days, free shipping. So let's keep going. As far as some of the different products people have tried, there's so many products out there, and it's it can be frustrating and it can be overwhelming. And it's funny because it's one of the most common questions I get when I do a skin check and we're cutting off a cancer, or I'm doing a, I think the gardeners are here, they're blowing stuff. So when I'm doing a procedure, people are at the end, they're always like, hey, what can I do just to make my skin look better? Or what can I do, sunblock or anti-aging, antioxidants? It's such a common question. And the answer is so big, and there's so many things, but I have always said, you really don't need a ton of things. There are places I've seen it. I've gone with my wife, and they're like, hey, you need a pre-toner, a toner, a post-toner, and just this huge, like 8 to 10 products that they're walking out with at a minimum. And a lot of people, there are just some people that might need that, but most people don't. And a lot of people are asking me, like, who are these products for? They're really for everybody. People that are under 40 that might be using a lot of products because they might have too much oil, that are drying them out, or they're getting irritated, they're getting splotchy and red from sometimes retinoids or different topicals that they may be using that are prescription strength. And when that happens, and you're getting irritated, and you want something to soothe and to reduce redness, it's very simple, just a couple things. And that's what we're going to go over here in a second. Let me just check here. Yes. I want to make sure my screens are up, so I'm giving you all the information you need. Most people, as long as you have a gentle cleanser, a good moisturizer, a good sunblock that doesn't feel greasy or oily that you like to wear, and some type of antioxidant serum, a brightening serum. There's a lot of different ones out there, but I really like ferulic acid, vitamin C, vitamin E. And so we do have a ferulic acid, vitamin C, vitamin E serum, and we're going to go over that too. So outside of that, a lot of it's just kind of icing on the cake and other things. There are other things you can do, under eye serums, lip, stuff for your lips. But overall, if you've got that as a baseline, you're really putting your best foot forward as far as reducing more damage and then dealing with some of the UV light and some of the damage you may be getting. So let me just go over as far as Skin Medicinals. They are cruelty-free. They don't test on animals. Everything is non-comedogenic, no dyes, fragrances, lanolin, parabens, formaldehyde, free of all of that, made for sensitive skin. So let's start with the products. Let me get these out here. First, gentle cleanser right here. You can see. And this is how they come. They're going to ship. They ship in 2 to 5 days. I'm going to go over the prices of everything. So this cleanser is very similar. You'll hear me talk, and if you've actually seen me in clinical practice, I do recommend CeraVe and Cetaphil a lot. Those are, recommended and formulated with dermatologists as well. They're very nice and light, in the same price point in that $14, $15 to $20 range. For a cleanser. This is a big cleanser. I like it, 237 mLs. It's a foaming cleanser. One thing I like about this is it removes dirt, oil, and makeup without drying out the skin. And And as far as like when I'm done with it, it's really an after effect that I like. It kind of feels like it's once it dries off, it almost this little bit of a tightening, and it just feels like I'm primed and ready for my moisturizer and whatever else, sunblock I'm going to put on. Very similar to those other brands, but there is this little after effect that I liked about it, which really stuck. I was like, man, that feels good. It kind of feels like extra fresh, basically. But yeah, so that is this. It's $19, but there'll be 15% off this week, and I'll give that code at the end. The link is also going to be in the description. So let's go down, talk about a little more here. I want to make sure when you got all these screens. So next is going to be the sunblock. And, I still like Isden. I think it's great. This one here is 50 SPF right here, SM Clear. This is how it comes. I'm going to take it out just so you can see it. One thing I like about this is it is 9% zinc oxide. But it also has in it octinoxate, 7.5%. So some people will say, oh, you shouldn't have any of the man-made molecules. There's an argument out there for that. I do hear people say that. One of the big ones in the argument for it is sometimes it causes sensitivities. I have a sensitivity to octocrylene where I get a bumpy rash. I don't with this. However, it does broaden the spectrum a little bit. So when people say broad spectrum sunblocks, when you have zinc oxide or titanium dioxide, the mineral barrier blockers, and then you also put in one of the man-made molecules, you kind of get a little bit broader spectrum and a little bit of absorption of UV light, which is nice. I wanted to show you with this. I'm just going to put it on so you can see. It comes out white, just like that. And you rub it in. And this is 50 SPF, which is very cool. Doesn't really have much of a smell to it, which is nice. Super light, and it kind of dries totally clear. And it actually has kind of a matte-like finish. It's very similar to the Isden. Price point is pretty close to the same, too. It's for 50 mLs. It's $44. Still not super, it's not inexpensive. What I've found is being able to micronize. When you're micronizing zinc oxide, there's some extra steps associated with that, and it's not cheap. But it's that step up of that when you're micronizing it that it really absorbs and you don't feel it. So, there's some out there, $15, $20, $25, but they're thick and you don't like the way you look in them or the way they feel, you're not going to wear it. And if you're not wearing it, it's not helping you. Some people will say some of these man-made molecules can get, you absorb them or they could be bad for you. Some people say that. There might be some truth to that when you're putting it all over your body. But when you're putting it in a small area, if it's one of your dailies and it's just for your face and you're talking about 2% body surface area, I don't think you're going to have much absorption systemically. But there is a risk-benefit analysis on that, like, making sure you don't have a contact dermatitis to it, obviously. But as far as, preventing skin cancers, all day long, I'm cutting off skin cancers, guys, and it is not fun. And so, having that on there, not everybody likes to put it on, but it's better than getting cut open with your skin cancers, unfortunately. So this is out here coming soon, and it will be on my online store. There will be a tinted that's just zinc. So there's stuff coming in the pipeline, which is also very fun. Looking forward to that. So let's go to the daily moisturizer here. So there's going to be 2 moisturizers in this bunch, right? I'm going to show you this one. This is one that I use in the morning. It's very light, very similar to like a CeraVe PM. This is something after washing your face that you put on. I do a couple things that I like about it. These are for sensitive skin, which is nice. And, when you're using a daily moisturizer, non-greasy, you want to make sure it absorbs quickly and is non-comedogenic. And then you can it's lightweight, so you can put stuff over it if you're wearing makeup over it. And this checks all those boxes. Very similar size, very similar price point at $19, but with 15% off, even less. and just a nice, you put it on and it feels fresh. One thing, one thing that I noticed with this one, because I use CeraVe and Cetaphil, I noticed with Cetaphil that I'm a little greasy or oily. I noticed with CeraVe it really absorbs and I don't really feel much. And this kind of lies in between. I feel moisturized with it, which is nice. And it tends to, I just feel like it lasts a little longer into the day, that I don't need to moisturize again during the day a lot of times. But that's a good one. Very super light, which I really enjoy. I think you will too. So let's get to the two showcases here. These are, and these are similar to what you may see out there, but the price point is usually 50% less or more than some of the big lines that you might run into. So this is the triple lipid moisturizer right here. And you can see promoting healthy aging. 2% cholesterol, 4% ceramides, 2% fatty acids. So where this comes in, this is one of my favorite products. It's one of my wife's favorite products as well. I can honestly say the first thing I thought the first day I woke up with it was I woke up and I was like, man, I feel like I just put it on a little bit ago, and it, 7-8 hours of sleep and you wake up. It almost felt like to me that my skin was taking little sips of water all night long. It just felt so hydrated, and it wasn't overbearing. It wasn't too thick. It comes in this little, you don't need a lot. It's actually pretty thick, 50 mLs, which is very similar to other ones that are on the market. This is how it comes right here. Pop this little guy off. It kind of, and you can see how thick it is. Very nice. I'm going to put a little on. A little bit goes a long way. And it just feels great. You put that on. I just put a little dab for the forehead, a little dab for the cheek and the chin, and you rub it in. Not greasy. Very nice. And one important thing that you'll see in most, actually, let me put this back so I don't get it all over my mouses. One important thing that you'll see in any good moisturizer is ceramides. Let's talk about ceramides. Ceramides are a lipoprotein and a building block for the skin barrier. So I kind of liken it to a brick wall with mortar. If you take away the mortar, the brick wall would just crumble and fall apart and fall down. When we are using products and getting dry and irritated, or we're over 40, we're having hormone changes and we're not producing as much sebum and we're just drying out, our skin turnover slows as we get over 40. So we'll have more dead skin cells piling up, causing kind of a rough complexion, accentuating fine lines because the skin kind of feels thicker. So these, you have humectants, things that are binding, and things that are holding moisture in. All of that is in there, which is nice. And it's rebuilding that barrier. So whether it's, just getting dry because you have eczema or because of products or because you're not producing enough, it's not only moisturizing, you're actually building that barrier back, and it's kind of healing and helping with anti-aging, which is nice. One thing that I wanted to also talk about is there's a lot of anti-aging products out there, and there's actually several lines like this. And there's a very common, popular one that is like $128, I think, $130. This is $75. So, not for everybody. If somebody just wants a moisturizer for $12 or $15, that's fine. But if you want that next level, what really differentiates, I find, is when you get to $50 to $75, and then you get to the $100 to $200. There's a lot of similarity, actually. Sometimes you're just buying a name. I mean, it's the same with cars. You'll see these high-end cars. It's all four wheels, and there's price points for everything. But I feel like it's in the formulation, and you can only get so low in price when you're really micronizing molecules and getting things to be stable, which is so important, and making sure that it's penetrating correctly and the molecules are small enough. That's where when people are like, well, why would I pay this extra when I can get just a moisturizer for $12? Sure, you can moisturize, $10, $12, you can get that. And if that works for you and feels great, awesome. But I'm doing 15% off so we can get that price point down even more so people can try it. I notice a difference. I use all these products, all the products that come to me. If you saw my bathroom, it's ridiculous. It's products. I got a corner thing and it goes all the way to the ceiling. But this one did really stick out. I used it for 6 to 8 weeks. Just less irritating. When you're getting dry, you can get red. You start getting kind of splotchy. What I found with this, which was nice, is because I'm so hydrated, I just noticed inflammation went down. I just wasn't as red at all. And remember, save your questions. We'll get them at the end here. So next one, and what I would call the belle of the ball, the star of the show. So, in everybody's routine, they will have some type of exfoliator a lot of times. And, like a retinol or a retinoid that's a prescription strength. And, that's nice for tightening pores, exfoliating. Those things are in a lot of people's regimens. But I think one of the most important things you can do is antioxidants. We are breaking down and turning skin cells over constantly. UV light, and these byproducts of UV light and cellular destruction. It's just a turnover of our skin, and it's a natural thing. But one way I tell people, and something I always tell my patients, is, if you're making a cake, let's say, right, and you put half the amount of butter in and half the amount of sugar that's recommended, you're still going to get a cake. You're going to get it. It's going to happen. It's going to pop up. Is it going to be the best cake possible that you could have made? Will it be the sweetest, maybe the fluffiest? Probably not, but you'll still get a cake. So when we're using things like this, we want to put our best face forward. And so when you're putting something on like antioxidants, like vitamin C and vitamin E and ferulic acid, this is what we have right here, our CE ferulic acid serum. And this is, it does what it says it's going to do. And what we do, I use this in the morning actually. So I'll wash my face. I'll put this on. I'm going to show you. It's a little dropper. This nice drippy serum right there. I will usually put a couple drops on. Rub that together, and then you put it all over your face like this. And we're, people talk about like ferulic acid. People talk about vitamin C and vitamin E, and you'll see vitamin C products. Oh, feels good. No smell either. Sometimes vitamin C, it's common. It'll smell like salami or like bologna. They got past that somehow in this. It actually doesn't really have much of a smell to it. And once it goes in, it just absorbs and it feels great. And you can see, not shiny, not oily. It absorbs amazingly. And so this is, let me just give you the breakdown. So you have it here. We are at 15% L of ascorbic acid, which is vitamin C, alpha tocopherol, 1%, which is vitamin E, and then 0.5 ferulic acid. So L-ascorbic acid is vitamin C in its purest form. And where these serums are difficult to be made, one, they have to be, in a dark bottle and, out of the sun. You want to keep them out of the sun because vitamin C will start to oxidize with sunlight. And so a lot of times with vitamin C, if you're not at the right percentage, you're not going to get good absorption, and it's not going to be stable. And when it's not stable, it's just when you put it on the skin, it may start to break down and not really absorb and do the job it's supposed to do. And what does it do? It brightens and evens out skin tones, not in a week, not in 3 weeks, but over time using it, it fights free radicals and UV damage, boosts collagen production over time, kind of seeping in, hydrates and smooths. The biggest thing I think that these CE ferulic acids do is it brightens, like a radiant glow. It really causes a glow and kind of lightens up. the skin overall. And when you're using it, when I used this for 6 weeks before, I went back to them and I was like, hey, and I told you guys, I think on the last one, I actually got compliments, for the first time in a long time from my patients. They're like, what are you using? And it was just everything had smoothed out. Reduction of redness. That's another thing I was going to say that was in the facial moisturizer too. Niacinamide, vitamin B3 is a good anti-inflammatory too. So you're putting that on the morning, it kind of settles down that splotchiness, little ingrown hairs. You can get redness on there. But as far as like what really brings the bang, this is $75. Now, I have seen these online, $220, $185. Big price points for this. And in this formulation, there are other formulations where it's not as much vitamin C, or there are differences out there, but it is not uncommon to see this at 200 or 200 plus, or very close to $200 across the board. They did, when they were putting this together, it was just a small peer review on the East Coast. I think it was in New York, and they had like a dozen dermatologists or derm providers, and they had a bunch of these serums lined up with white labels. They didn't know what it was, and everybody tried it and put it on, and they kind of gauged and voted what they thought. This one right here beat all of them. And the price point is less than half of what most of the price points are for this. So if you're out there and you're like, I've always heard about ferulic acid and vitamin C, vitamin E serums, I just never wanted to spend $200. That's way out of my price range. I wanted to do something. I'm giving 15% off so you can try it and you see it, If it's something that you love, it's only a couple drops each time. This actually lasts me like 2 to 3 months. A little bit goes a long way because it's such a nice serum that spreads really nice. But yeah, so this is the one that people have been asking about. This is the one that a lot of patients ask me about. And, I tell them some of those big product lines that are out there, the SkinCeuticals of the world, very expensive price points, not for everybody. And I was talking to a dermatologist the other day, and it was actually they had talked to a patient and somebody that lives in like Laguna Beach, right? Beautiful area out here. And they were saying that this patient's mom was like, if it's not $200, I don't think it works. That's what she said. And so, yeah, there's some pockets of the country where $200 is nothing for them. But, I was telling them there's way more pockets of the country that would love to have the benefit of something like this and don't have $200 to spend. You're talking about 98% and 2% probably. So if we can get something that brings that price point down, and that's what SkinCeuticals has been about from the beginning, and now they're doing it and bringing it as low as they can for these types of products. And there is a barrier to entry when you're doing it right and you're formulating these things so they absorb correctly and micronizing molecules that are difficult to work with. I don't think I've seen one in this formulation under 120 or 150 in this formulation. So, but if there's questions or people have their stuff they're putting on, and I'll see it later, we'll do another live and talk about that too. But I just wanted to go over that. Which product for wrinkles and age spots? Right here. So vitamin C and E with ferulic acid. Ferulic acid is something that they found it in plants actually, and it kind of helps with cell structure of the plants. A lot of people ask, like, how does UV light just hit plants all day long and they're not shriveling up? There's a lot of reasons. They have multiple things in there, but that's one of them. And so helping kind of protect against UV damage to the skin. Vitamin C over time will also lighten brown spots and kind of brighten you up, along with the vitamin E as well, which is nice. It's just, it's kind of putting on the right ingredients for the best face forward, basically. And, as people have questions and we go in, we can get deeper into some of the, formulations, or if people have those questions. But, and there will be more stuff coming. These are just kind of 5 staples, like a light moisturizer for the morning, and then a thick moisturizer for the nighttime that really hydrates you as you sleep. A good antioxidant, vitamin C and vitamin E, and a good face wash. and a good sunblock. So basically covers it all. And that's when I was literally looking for when I met them, and I was just like, this is exactly what I was trying to have made for my office. But I just didn't want to do, to get to this point. It takes years, and it takes a lot of time and money and microbiologists and people formulating, chemists. It is not easy to do. And I think that they've done an amazing job, and I'm just so happy to partner with them. So one thing I wanted to talk about, when you go online, we are working on getting international shipping. They just won't be free shipping. You'll probably have to pay for shipping. But they're looking at my top 10, which is like the United Kingdom, I believe Canada, Australia. There's 10 other countries out there that they're looking into shipping. I know things are a little crazy right now internationally, but as those things work out, I know that this is coming. So delivery is free shipping in the United States to, I believe, Puerto Rico as well, and Hawaii, and to Alaska in the continental United States. Free shipping within 2 to 5 days. 24 hours a day you can purchase. When you get low, you can set it. You just, click it and forget it, and it just comes straight to your house, which is nice. And the link will be in this video. I also am going to do some just quick short videos that you'll see at the front of a lot of my videos coming. And I did talk about all of this. Yeah, Sharon, is for sensitive skin. And that's where, I think that product lines like this, CeraVe and Cetaphil, fall into this ilk as well. Is that they're made by dermatologists for sensitive skin. And what that means a lot of times is that they've taken out a lot of the floral scents, in particular lavender oil, things like that. Lavender oil is a very common allergen, and a lot of people don't know that. And I do have a lot of people that come in with plant-based topicals, and then I can literally see this ring of red in swirls where they're having this contact dermatitis. And it's just plants. It's common for people to be sensitive to it. So when they were formulating this as a board certified dermatologist, they know that, and they actually formulated it with that in mind. And we talked about that in the beginning, I know, with people that were just showing up. These products are no parabens. I think I wrote it down here. Yeah. Non-comedogenic. That means they're not going to be thick and clog your pores. No dyes, fragrance, lanolin, parabens, or formaldehyde. And those you will find in sometimes some of the less stable, kind of cheaper products. I got to put that in to keep it stable or for shelf life. And they use some of those things. So I'll have that link in there, and we will we'll talk more about these product lines. There's going to be more coming. This is kind of brand new for them. It's only been out like 4 or 5 months. And if you have a local dermatologist, you may have tried it with them. That's the only way you can. Normally, this was set up to where you would go in to your dermatology office, and they would email you a link, and then you go to that link and you get it. They now are doing QR codes and links for, providers like me that have an online following, which I think is so awesome. They partnered with me, and we worked it out to be able to do that, because I look at my comments, and it's one of the top 3 comments I get. What can I do for my wrinkles or my brown spots outside of bleaching creams? One thing that vitamin C and vitamin E do is they kind of blocking an absorption of UV light before it can damage the melanocytes, and protecting the melanocytes so they don't receive as much damage and then release melanin, which causes the pigment spots. So on, putting that in there and having that absorb in and kind of having that layer of protection, and then putting a sunblock on, you're winning 2 ways. So that's highly recommended for a daily routine. I myself, people ask me a lot this too. I don't wear sunblock every day because I'm inside all day. But when I am going to go take the dogs for a walk, or, something like that, and you guys are just getting ready in just a minute to meet 2 new family members of our household. You're going to meet them in a second. But yeah, so when I go to take a dog for a walk, or I'm going to be out fishing in the morning for a couple hours. I'm always putting it on, and I'm putting on 50 SPF, and I'm making sure that there's zinc in there. So that is very important. Michelle, oh my gosh, thank you so much for the super sticker. That is so nice. I really appreciate you. So yeah, this is going to be fun. It's going to be progressing, and we're going to have new stuff that's going to be on there. There will be discounts that I'm going to be doing around the year at different times and offers. So stay tuned on my channel for that. And it's just going to be great to hear your feedback. And I would love to hear your feedback in the comment section. So check this out right here. This little guy. Hi, bud. Hi. Oh, big kisses. He likes that ferulic acid. We got two of these guys. Maximus right here, little Maxi boy, and Artex, little Tex. Such a sweetheart. So we lost our Labrador 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. His name was Dexter, and he was our furry little boy. We had him before we had kids, and he passed away, and my kids were so sad and talked about, having a dog for years. And so one of our friends, they're like, this guy's asleep. That's so cute. One of our friends, their lab got pregnant, and we were like, yes, it's time, I think. So these guys are going to grow up with my kids, and they're going to be so fun, and they're going to get me out there running, which I need to do. And Mrs. Pops it too. And they are just the biggest love bug brothers, just like these two guys here. So let's put those guys. Were they asleep, little guys? So cute. I also wanted to show you this. If you come into my office, you're gonna see some of these, which is very cool. It just kind of has some descriptions, which is really fun. And yeah, I think that Skin Medicinals is gonna really make an impact as far as getting prices where they should be for quality products for a lot of people for years to come. So, any quick questions? Let me know. I will. The link is already up there. And let's see. I know. Thank you, Catherine. My sons are gifts from God, and those little fur babies are too. They are just adorable. I'm going to have some great behind the scenes footage with them too. We already have them. They will go from rolling around in a ball of fur and growling and to just cuddling and kissing each other's faces. It's pretty funny. Hello, Kelbell. Arlene. Hello. So yeah, I know we lost some people in the beginning, but some people will come back and watch this. Excess sweating. Yes. So there are a lot of hormonal concerns. Yeah, we deal with that too, hyperhidrosis. But Sea Glass Woman, so nice to meet you. So wow, it's been almost 40 minutes. I hope that kind of went over things. I know a lot of people ask of things about like cruelty-free. Where is it coming from? This first batch and shipment, we will say they're fragrance-free. Yes, they are fragrance-free. And when you go to Skin Medicinals, when you do click on the link, and you can click on the product and it will tell you. One great thing about Skin Medicinals as well is part of the proceeds go to nonprofits that help organizations that help people with their skin. So I think that's really cool, and I'm not surprised with everything else they do. It goes hand in hand with what it seems like they're all about, which I love. And one other thing I was going to say, oh yeah, you can go on there and you can kind of read about each product as well. And then if you have any additional questions, obviously, you can put comments on here or comments on the videos that I'll have going forward. But I hope you all enjoyed that. I know that was a lot to cover, but I'm just excited to have these. And it's so just to end it. It was so funny when I met the rep that came in for this, who introduced me to this. I literally just got off the phone with the company that I was talking about making some products. It was the third company that I had been discussing with over the last 6 months about making my own product line. And I just think it was so amazing that like they started in November, December, which is exactly when I opened up my dermatology office. And it was just such a good fit. And, you know, the products are in Texas. They get shipped out. That's what I was going to say. The first round was made in China. But going forward, so if you do order, some of them will say made in China, but going forward, they will all be sourced out of South Korea. So, and a lot of people ask me, is there a downside? Is there anything wrong with them? Like, do you have anything negative to say? There will be some going to Europe, potentially, Sylvie, so don't worry, it's coming. One thing I would say, if I had to be and critique it, is the labeling and the containers. I mean, this is thick glass, but I've seen better containers. They're not the best containers, but you throw away the containers. It's what's inside that matters. So, and that's, I think, one way that they have cut costs down. You know, you want to be putting $20 to $40 in this Ferrari packaging that you're just going to throw away, and when you really just want to get to what's inside. So I think that's a smart move, actually. And, you know, I don't think it's completely a negative, but some people that matters, but, you know, I don't think it should. I think having what's inside being where the money's at is where it's at. So I think that's pretty much covers everything. If anybody has some questions, I'd have a couple minutes. We'll make this, wow, 45 minutes goes by so fast. I don't even think I took a breath the whole time. Let me see here. I think we're good. Yeah, I think most people, I was going up to the top if there's questions. I know people came in from Florida, all over the place. Maryland, so cool. New Jersey, Texas. Great to see you all. Yes, I also wanted to just real quickly say thank you. I've had so many patients traveling to see me, and I mean, it's humbling. It's very cool. I don't know why I'm just surprised every time. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's amazing that you chose me in my office. I'm really appreciative of it. But that's what I did my channel for, you know? It'll be the code. I almost forgot. It'll also be in the description. MPZ15. M as in Mike, P as in Paul, Z as in Zebra, 15% off your entire order. So if you bundle it in a package, all of it will be 15% off. And that should be for this full week, and I may even extend it, but for the first week for sure, it's going to be 15% off. Promo code MPZ15. So I can't believe I almost forgot that. That was important. It can be ordered. Yes. The link in the description on this, and I will also have it on my main page of my YouTube channel. There will be a link there that goes. It's for the continental United States right now, and Hawaii and Alaska as well, and in the District of Columbia as well, DC. But we're looking at overseas, so I know a lot of people are asking that question, and when they see this back, they'll see it in the comments. And but that could be coming soon. I'll obviously do a live and do an update when that's the case. But yes, you can just go on and click. It is so easy. I did it myself. You just click what you want, and you just put in the credit card, free shipping, and you'll have it at your door in 2 to 5 days. So I hope you enjoy it, and we will talk again soon. So thanks for popping by. I do have the video I was talking about, the acne video. I'm going to call it, I think, the ultimate acne video. It's taken me weeks, but I'm going back for 5 years of footage and taking the best pops, and I'm going to try to make an hour long of pop after pop after pop after pop of just acne. So that is coming, and I hope you all enjoy it, and let me know what you think. And we'll talk again soon. Bye-bye.